off your thoughts inside.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is the DoorDash LCO, and we have a second game to get to. To bring you to that second game, I'm joined by Rusty and Skimmy. We love to have great conversations, sometimes have podcasts, sometimes do some theory crafting. Something that is definitely a Rusty special, as mostly, you know, words, not my specialty, but I do say a lot of them. Skimmy as well, he's a bit better at the word side of things, the crafting, word crafting, smithing. I don't know, what's your blacksmithing level in IRL?
Oh, it's not max level yet, mate. I need more money to farm up those mats to get to the max level. So we're getting close, but you know, I didn't play for a long time, so I'm falling a little bit short. So there you go, mate.
Mate, you're looking a bit short today as well. I think you've
I
cut off
slouched my chair a little bit. I've actually absorbed the Juve's power of just being comfortable casting. I've got the comfy pants on as well, so you know we're just in the zone. Yeah. I could stand up, but that'd probably be not safe for work.
Look, it's a good place to be.
It could be a good place to be, but I don't know.
I don't know. Is that the weirdest pickup line I've ever done? Anyway,
I like how your camera focused at the same time. It was almost meant to be.
It's just, yeah, following along with my brainwaves at the moment. Anyway, we do have to get into game 2. So it is going to be Mammoth taking on Direwolves. Let's talk Mammoth first, because we love Mammoth. We love what we've seen from them so far, and they've made these couple of changes to the roster. You got Frost there, who popped off yesterday. You got Goodo as well, doing some good things in the jungle. Respect the neck in the top lane. Way in mid, always one to watch in terms of his micro ability. Then you got Shinky there in support as well. So a very well-rounded roster, and looking like the pieces are starting to come together, but they just need to get some wins on the board, don't they, Rusty?
Yeah, they need the wins, 100%. This is not going to be the easiest game for them, but it is winnable, so definitely something that they can look forward to. And while we're looking at this team overall and the way they've been playing, we first of all have to give the credit to Frost first and foremost, right? For having a pretty good showing, even in a loss, being 7-1. I know scoreline doesn't reflect everything, but he was space gliding around the rift, kiting in some team fights, and definitely has had a commendable showing. And this comes after the first game that we saw from Mammoth play last week, where we were complimenting Goodo for his early passing and his inclusion of the rest of the team in the way that they've been playing. I think at the end of the day, like, we take those two pieces, put them together, and we've got an early game recipe and we've got a late game win condition. So I think the pieces are there for Mammoth.
Just quickly, was he actually space gliding? Because I saw Why Not doing a demonstration of that with Kindred at some point. Is that a real mechanic?
Space gliding, no, or walking, the same thing.
It's all just mixed
really,
terminology.
It's almost like a meme terminology of just kiting really well. If they're kiting well, they're space glider. And a space cadet is someone who makes a really bad decision, not to be confused with space glider.
Ah, well, there you go. So let's have a quick look at Direwolves here as well. We love Direwolves. We love what they've been bringing so far this split, and I really just want to see what happens when Cupcake gets back. But for now, you know, Calrock doing as best as he can. Him and Guncrab, you know, down in that bot lane, it might not be the strongest combination of things for Direwolves, but then you look at their mid, jungle, and top lane, and they are the solo laners, and they're still doing just as good of a job as ever.
Very close game for them yesterday. Juves mentioned it has been a game of millimeters, and I think a lot of that could go down to it, right? Because you saw a shock in a situation where he saw multiple red blinking health bars. He could have hit the R2 and guaranteed lots of extra kills, and fights gone their way to try and change the tempo overall. The CC chains, the communications seem to be for the most part on point. Like we saw a lot of these little exchanges happen in the bot play in this sort of similar fashion, where they're outplaying Violent and Adoric, which you tout as like, you know, top 1, top 2 in the league. So Guncrab's definitely got the experience, maybe a little bit of inexperience in some particular angles as to when to go in exclusively, but I think for me, I still put a little bit of pressure onto Calrock because we clearly know he has the ability. We've seen it. It's just the fact that in that particular game, he had no protection offered towards him. So mix that in with nerves, and very hard for you to pilot your role.
Great Nordhawk there, by the way, if anyone saw that one. That somehow
through the
hit
wall.
Alidori. Yeah, through the wall. Why not? You know?
Oh, yes. That's what you put on Twitter yesterday, right?
Yeah.
The hitbox just went straight through the wall, pulled him across. Completely ridiculous. But it worked out. So maybe we might see a bit more Nort today. Who knows?
Lollipopping is a concept that once you understand it in League of Legends, you understand that some skill shots just don't make sense, and it's better not to understand them at all. Just accept them.
Well, someone that is a very understanding and caring person is Nat. So let's bring Nat back down to the panel. How you doing, Nat? And who do you have down on the sidelines?
I'm doing well, and I'm going to be joined by Frost, and only for this pre-game interview. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Frost, I want to say we didn't get to talk to you guys yesterday because unfortunately you did lose against Pentanet. But can I just say, what an amazing performance you had. You absolutely played out of your mind. So how are you feeling coming off of the back of a performance like that into today's game?
It feels really nice to perform, to push for the victory, but unfortunately we did lose, but I had fun, so.
It looks like it. I would be having fun if I had your scoreline as well. Now, only last time I spoke to you,
True.
You said you're just looking to learn as much as you can, and that was up against PGG. Since then, you have also gone up against Peace. So, how much have you guys learned, and sort of what do you think is going to be playing a factor in today's game from that?
I don't know how to answer that one. Like we're still inting mid game. I want to say we have learned, but we got a lot more work to do. I think the gap between the top teams, like specifically PGG, Order, Chiefs, Peace, like the gap between these teams is actually not as big as I think people think. So we actually learned from losing against all the teams. And yeah, I guess today is like people's opinions of us won't really change whether we like win or lose today. Maybe if we lose, but if we win, like not really, people will still think we're like the 4th or the 5th place team. So today is just like a stepping stone for hopefully getting a win against some of the bigger teams.
Yeah, and maybe even a chance to put into some action, some things that you guys have learnt. Frost, you're pretty new. Well, you are new this split to the Mammoth roster. How are you settling in with the team, and what aspect, or like, what do you think that you're bringing and adding into the Mammoth team?
Well, the team is very nice, and I think what I bring to the table is a very consistent ball laner that will always stay in the game and be there if the team needs me to carry. So that's what
I'm looking forward to seeing I'm looking forward to some consistency. The last question I will ask both of you, I'll start with Frost, is which player on the other team are you going to be focusing on, or like most nervous to verse?
No one in particular. They're all pretty veteran players except for Karok, but yeah, just everyone in general. I'll be focused on, I guess.
And what about you, Only?
Frost, he went 8-0 or 7-0 or whatever yesterday. We'll try and make that 0-7 or 0-8. That'll look better.
Looks like there's going to be a lot going on in the bottom lane. Then thank you both so much for joining me, and good luck with the game.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Always good to hear from the boys there. Frost as well, very humble, very, very humble. So, doing good work in the player interviews as well as in the Rift. So hopefully we get to see a bit more from him today up against Direwolves. Of course, always lovely to hear Only's voice. It's just so perfect, so beautiful. Now, before we jump into the predictions,
them in future, Mac, just quickly, I feel like you should be the one that interviews Only from now on, just to like see how you go under that pressure.
I'll lose my train of thought and I'll fall off into the loving world that my imagination goes to in those beautiful times. And I don't want to take Nat's job as well. She does a great job doing the interviews. Now, as I was saying just a second ago, Juves, he turned up and he put his predictions in. So you know what that means? Twitch chat, unfortunately, he's not going to be allowing you to do his predictions for the rest of the day. And I think that's really rude. I think that's super self-centered. And Jubes, he's a very humble guy, but honestly, I can see that he could be self-centered like that. Just it's all about sharing the love. So, you know what? If you guys want to do my predictions for the rest of the split, I'll allow you to do that because I think that's funny.
The rest of the split?
The whole split, wow.
Why not? I trust the people. So,
okay.
Look, we'll give it a rest for this one in particular because, production, just that got thrown at them. But I do like this idea. So, Twitch and me, we're going hand in hand. Now, let's bring the predictions up, see where we are going to be putting our allegiances for this game in particular, I've gone Mammoth. I'm going underdogs. So I was going for the underdogs, but now I'm going with Twitch. Because
Justify it.
Justify it? I don't know, the 10% chance that they do play out of their minds.
Think it's
Frost. Probably 15, you know.
I think 15's a better answer, actually.
Yeah, you know, a bit more than what I gave them initially. But Frost popping off yesterday gave me a lot more hope, and I've enjoyed what I've seen from Mammoth the last couple of weeks. Of course, I am aware it's an underdog pick. I'm not saying they're coming in to do this as the favourites. I'm just, you know, going, hey, I like when I get my predictions right and everyone else gets it wrong, and then I can rub the dirt in the wound or whatever you do. You know, nice and humble like that. That's me. What about you guys?
I'll jump in here. I mean, Direwolves, we obviously know they're pretty veteran players. They're sort of coming together as their own. But I would be really interested to see how Mammoth play. Like you said, we saw Goodo last week really pop off. We saw Frost pop off yesterday. If they can both pop off today, you know, imagine giving only Run for his money and then Calrock as well. So I just want it to be a really interesting game, and I think this one has so much potential.
You know, the craziest thing that esports has adopted that I really like, maybe the Australian in me, is pop off. Because it's a fart. Like, why is it that we've decided that players will fart, and we called that going on? I think it's from fighting
games. We will say
like,
anything if it sounds good.
It's just amazing
that
that's the one that Australians latched on to. Like, of all things, I believe it's from a fighting game, but you get my point.
Now I'm never going to say that again.
Just, I want to see them all pop off.
Just want to see them play well.
I think, no, pop-off comes from, fighting games, but afterwards, it's when they jump up out of their seats and they get real excited and hype up the crowd and stuff. That's what the pop-off is, because you pop off your seat. It's not to do with farts, Rusty.
No, I don't doubt that, right? I'm just saying that as an Australian, that's where I went. Right?
Okay.
Because it's also that.
Look, we are in draft, but before we jump into the draft, we have a sick content piece from Mammoth of two players interviewing themselves. So let's see how that went.
What was your first impressions of me?
Oh, okay.
I already kind of know this one.
We had a chat about it in the first I looked away. It was like someone just told me about the way, but it was like shit about him. So to be honest, like first when I just look away, I feel like depression, but now it's getting better. It's getting better.
What the fuck? That's messed up.
Okay. Would you rather fight one Baron size teamer or 20 teamer size Barons?
I think it would have to be 20 teamer size Barons. I don't know, I just want to bash teamer. Like just the sheer amount of dopamine I get from beating up teamer that many times. Just feels good.
Okay.
That's it really.
Okay.
Who's someone in League that you generally disliked at first, but now you like?
Oh, I think it's the same question for the last time. Like, how do you go away?
Okay, well, okay. I mean, we take those.
Okay,
At least I'm semi-liked now.
Yep. Last split, you said your hashtag would be ways play. What would mine be?
Your hashtag would be...
Well, I guess we'll just wait and find out in part number 2 there, Rusty, but we've been saved from that one for the meantime because we get to crack on in with this draft and see how Direwolves fare up against Mammoth, who, surprise, surprise, have had some very good early game starts to the season already, right? You know, the game up against PGG yesterday had a draft, they had a clear identity about, you know, getting online nice and early, finding CC, layering and locking in place, and it started well, but, you know, up against a team like PGG, it was always going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was. At the end of the day, we saw some good things from them, which is what we're wanting to see, and it's how they progress, right? Do they develop what was already good? Do they continue to, you know, develop new talents that they add to the mix, and suddenly they're just a team that has so many different options that they're a threat to deal with at all times? We'll see how they continue to progress. As right now, just quickly taking stock of the bans as well here, Mammoth went for 3 fairly targeted bans. I know that Gwen is just an overall strong pick, and so is the Senna, but that's away from the Direwolves' current roster pretty specifically.
Yep.
Direwolves will first pick a flexible champion in the Akali, but they've given over the Ezreal and the Lee Sin to Mammoth. So this is the makings of an exceptional draft from Mammoth, only 2 picks in.
Yeah, it certainly is, and don't forget this is what Direwolves did yesterday with the first pick Akali, and we did see Shock play it, but Claire can too, so still a bit of flexibility in that regard to decide where it goes. The Karma now comes in as the second pick, and we've seen Wei actually be quite keen on that pick as well. So clear identity from the side of Direwolves is go fast and just charge at them, because the Hecarim's come on through, and that means if that is going to be a mid lane Karma, a very strong mid-jungle duo.
Yeah, Lulu Band, Karma the next in the pecking order as far as those flexible support style champions go. Hecarim Karma being a mid jungle duo is obviously going to be quite powerful in their 2v2 skirmishes. Karma just as a support still can of course augment that come team fights and gank attempts through mid game. So I like what they've gone for so far. I like the immediate response, however, here from Mammoth in Gudo going for the volley bear, presumably. Could be that it's a top volley bear for all we know, but I would expect that it's going to be volley jungle. Very good ganking jungler right now. Has a lot of dive potential, which is something that we'd like to see. The way it currently goes, hit level 6, towers are irrelevant, right? You can reset the aggro at any time, so dives are free. And it does open up, for a champion like a Lee Sin, and what could be a diving-based melee mid laner as well, because there's a lot of them at the moment, a lot of avenues.
It feels like a bit of punishment potential, right? If Direwolves are looking to go fast and try and dive you, then they can do exactly the same, just on their own accord. As we see now what the second rotation of bans come out as, and Mammoth have gone for a clear idea that ban away some of these AD carries, make Kalrok's life just a fraction harder. For the Kaiser as well as the Varus, the response from Direwolves though is then narrow that lane, that area of focus even further by removing Leona as well as the Nautilus.
Yeah, a bunch of tanky champions. Champions that we've seen Gunkrab play as well. So this to me does lean towards him being the Karma. Waiting to see what AD carry goes with it though. Because Kalrok could play, and it is banned in this case, champions like the Kaiser, right? Like the hyper carry, but just team fight based dive champions. Or he could sit back and play the Kog'Maw style champion. Now I'm not saying that Direwolves will most likely pick a Kog'Maw when they're off-roll support is an AD carry main trying to work with you down there and Lulu's gone, but Ashe is another one of those picks that is okay in a vacuum, but with a Karma is even better and just tends to win all 2v2s.
It feels a little bit wasted as well when you put somebody like Shock on a Karma, when you know that he can pop off, and almost feel perhaps inspired after seeing Kisei's performance on that Sylas 2 now. So once again, a very strong poke-heavy bot lane, looking to try and get themselves a very early first turret to then unlock the map, or if not that, at least guarantee that these dragons work in their favor. That's going to be a Renekton. Now, the big question at the top of show, Rusty, was would we see a mid-Renekton? And we might get our answer here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we will. I would actually like to see it mid, just because I think it handles Akali pretty well. Not that Lee Sin doesn't, actually. So they really do have their pick of the litter with how they want to play this one. I wouldn't expect the champion assignments to change, though. Way on Lee Sin, Nectar, and Renekton just makes sense. It's about where they actually deploy, right? When they get into game and load on the Rift and choose their lane assignments. Shock, of course, a very good mid lane assassin player, practiced Akali quite a lot, and has become very well versed in the champion, picking it even when it was off meta. So this is a comfort zone for him for sure. Claire, it's a mid lane champion. It's a comfort zone for him for sure.
Sure.
And only obviously does know the ins and outs of Hecarim, has existed as a jungler for quite a while and has that Karma to boot. So for me, I'm looking at Direwolves. I'm saying they're going to probably play around their solo laners quite a bit. And they've got their weak side Ashe Karma that are just going to probably plant their feet in mid post 15 minutes and just run around the map really fast and throw those enchanted crystal arrows out, and they'll be having a good time doing it.
It feels like I can see the vision of what they're looking to try and do, right? You know, be very poke-heavy bot lane, get a quick early bot tower, then to translate and plant yourself in mid, so that means that only's going to be very, easy to try and influence and help out there with some of those Karma shields too. On the flip hand, though, we're looking at what Mammoth have with a lot of tanks, a lot of ways to not only soak up turret shots, but then to switch the aggro to outplay and more so than anything, shred through some of these shields.
Yeah, so here's the thing, Skimmy. Mammoth do have a lot of tanks, but they also have an Alistar into a Sylas, which means that Direwolves have a lot of tanks. So
it's the worst case scenario, isn't it?
It's not as simple as just being tanky and getting through it. They will have a lot of reliance on the Ezreal doing a lot of carrying work, as they're a mostly physical damage composition, so getting ahead early is a big deal.
Certainly will be, and to try and coach us through some of the ideas as we get into our second game of the day, we do have Mammoth's coach in Jalal. Mate, how are you guys going today?
Hello?
Hopefully you can hear us. Can you hear us, Jalal?
Yep.
We got you, mate. Hey, I was just going to ask, how are you boys faring today?
I think we're confident. Yeah.
Oh, that's always good to hear. I saw you guys obviously play against PGG yesterday, and there seemed to be a fairly strong idea as to what you wanted to draft, how you wanted to play it out. And the first 10-15 minutes seemed to go pretty well, according to plan. I'm sure you can agree. But then, a team like PGG, always a tough opponent. As these games go by and we sort of see this idea that, the teams are closer and they're closer, what do you continue to take from this? Because we've yet to see the roster change. We're still seeing this idea of these are our 5 players. The identity hasn't changed. We've got a clear draft initiative. You come into this game against the Direwolves, are you looking at this and saying, cool, we've got a lot of curveballs we can throw at them?
Yeah, most of it is just our macro in the late game or in the mid game as well. But yeah, I think we play early just fine. We just have to work on our macro later in the game.
Yeah, and talk to me a little bit some of that macro, because we've seen at times teams be quite susceptible to the classic, ARAMs in mid lane and trying to navigate the idea if they are going to play, like, say, double support compositions, how to rotate around that one. You're going against a team like Direwolves here, who've obviously put together a composition that wants to go fast, wants to be aggressive. You've picked up a lot of tanks on your end. Is there a clear idea here after the performance from Frost yesterday? Invest a lot in him to have another stellar showing?
Yeah, it's just have a good front line, allow Frost to output DPS, and I think we're in a good position.
And on a final note, 1 victory was found in split number 1. Obviously a much longer season with the triple round robin this time around. Are we looking at any personal goals to aim for? I'm sure it's more than just, not coming last, right? Is there any particular benchmark, whether it be how the team comes together as a whole, or just taking games away from particular opponents?
Well, it's just definitely just winning more games.
As clear cut as that. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, we'll leave you for the meantime, and we'll see how the boys fare today, and we'll catch up soon.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Here we go, Rusty. Here we go. Figure out what's going to take place in this game, because I suppose it's always nice, right, when you do have some of these players emerge and break through to these teams and not be afraid by the team or the caliber they're up against, and then have a composition built around them.
Yeah, I mean, the league is closing, right? Like, there is a smaller disparity than there was in the first split between the bottom and the top, for sure. Direwolves also a team that currently have a substitute player and an off-role player. So I think they should be pretty confident, honestly, coming into this one, because if ever there was a time to feel good about it, it would be now against the Direwolves, not in 5 weeks, when they're practiced with a main roster, right? And to his point in the interview as well, what is something that the composition wants? He said frontline, and let me tell you what they've got, Skibby.
A lot.
They've got frontline for weeks, man.
It does beg the question then, are we going to see a rather explosive early game? Are they not going to want to wait for the level 6s where Direwolves are clearly looking to try and rotate? Or will they just get bullied out like this? Shinky in so much trouble, has to flash away because the empowered Q from Karma means that Gunkrab now soaking up a fair too many tower shots, and the trade goes sideways. Claire also very low, but he manages to also use the turret to his favor, and Direwolves get first blood.
Yeah, Turret's currently rocking up as the MVPs of this game 3 minutes in. Gunkrab, of course, does get to retain his flash, but Shinky has Hex Flash, so what was a really good trade turns into 2 turret shots to poke, which is, frankly, unacceptable, right? That just shouldn't exist. They are still a poke lane, though, so they will be able to continue to play out as normal way. I think it all... He was thinking about it, and he did it.
Fantastic. It was one of my points I wanted to bring up as we got into this game. Wei has not been having the best start to the season. I mean, you look at a few of his games. 0-6 yesterday on the Zoe, 1-5 on the Karma. He was a big talking point when he was playing in the OCS, the highest KDA, one of the stand-up players.
Only wants to dive this one as well, Skimmy. Sorry to cut you off there, but a level 4 Hecarim with Ghost ready. Shinky, no flash. I think they just straight go on the Alistar.
Yep, and they're going to hit the Ghost button as well. That's a lot of damage. Out comes the TP. This is going to be a little bit too late at this stage, you'd think. Frost commits the flash to try and hit an auto attack from far away, but Kalrock guarantees it with the volley. Wei TP's in. He had a purchase, but it wasn't enough to swing the tides of battle.
Wei looking actually might be in trouble.
Yeah, might have been an overstep right there, and the CCS is going to come on through. Only is actually going to get traded. They have to flash away from the Sonic Wave. It's a bit of a 1v3 performance where mechanics are being shown. A few sidesteps. It can all go sideways.
This is already, right, 4.5 minutes into this, has been pretty chaotic, and pretty back and forth, and I'm not going to say it's the cleanest game of League of Legends already. We've had a solo kill top lane under the turret. We've had 2 turret shots tanked bottom. Shinky now having a crack at stopping some recalls, and Frost just going to take some damage. Mid lane's dive was successful, and then we've just got some mechanics max attempts down in bottom lane as well from Wei. The teleport was good, right? It's the rest of it. Where he does get a kill, right, but does definitely still die for that one. I mean, this has been sloppy, it's been chaotic. And even with all the good work that Wei put in, he spent so long away from mid that Shot is keeping up, right? Head in experience, getting towards level 6 first, and that's exactly what he's after.
And you speak about the nature of this game. Well, it has basically meant that we only have 2 summoners left in the game, only 2 flashes, both on Shock and Goodo, because everybody else has been looking to try and check each other in the lane and find fights and find success from it. So everything you love to see from these teams to showcase how an early game can translate into mid-late rotations. We see that a lot of these teams that find themselves traditionally in the top 5 half of the map, or sorry, of the ladder, feel a little bit more refined in the mid to late, know how to close out games, know what it requires, but how teams can find edges. Strong early game. Doesn't necessarily always translate into a win, but certainly gives you a good chance.
So top lane, to me, actually comes down to itemization and spike timings within that. Renekton probably wants to get an Executioner's calling. Claire himself will want to build the Oblivion Orb soon, I would imagine, and that healing cut is pretty significant for the way that lane swings. Silas is a W-max champion who wants to play in melee range to hit that, and will be controlling, as you're seeing, and bodying out Nectar right now. But if Nectar gets the healing cut, then it's possible that that swings. We'll see how it plays out regardless. We need to include junglers in that conversation.
Claire just wants it. He wants this 1v2 right now. The life leech, the swing of the chains, and make it all go insane. He's going to hit the ultimate to try and disengage away. Stolen that one away from Volibear. But now, what can he do in this situation? Because he's got no backup, he's got no TP. Another kill found here by Wesley Sin.
Yeah, but still Nectar going down, right? The cost is still very high for the Renekton for the top laner, while it's still good for Claire overall. It takes 3 people to take him down when he'd already won the trade. Dire will be able to get themselves an objective secured here as well, so Drake going to fall. Lots of health returned to only if he wants some mana. There's some fruit on the ground, but the blue buff's going to be there for some vertical jungling. So as long as Claire is currently careful, and he doesn't have teleport, so he's not going to teleport back to lane and be at risk of dying or anything. But as long as he's careful now, then I think Direwolves won that trade overall. And that is actually reflected at the moment through the goal difference.
Yeah, and you can see that the majority of that is found in this bottom half of the map. Given the fact they've gone for a poke-heavy comp, they found the advantages, they pushed the wave against them, and they found the kills too. Now, Goodo was looking for a recall. You mentioned how would Claire play this. He hasn't TP'd back, but he does have a sneaky suspicion that's just a little bit too quiet.
Well, where is the Lee Sin, right, is the question that he has to be asking. Shock, no doubt, has said, I don't know where he's gone, but he's a 3-in-1 Lee Sin that's gone walkabout, and the wave's crashing on the turret now. So see how Claire pushes up at the moment. That crashes, bottom.
Just dead again, unfortunately for him. Frost, he's going to flash, dash, and unfortunately fall on down for him there. A solo kill found in the bottom half of the map. Direwolves exerting their pressure, maybe Kalrock enraged after a few nerves and jitters yesterday. But he's going to bounce back with some convincing lane dominance.
Yeah, and listen, you don't want to start a game of League of Legends where we prop up Frost and say he's been the star of the show so far. Definitely a place where we want to see them continue to succeed, and see a 0-4 bottom lane at the moment with 5 kill contribution from the Direwolves side with their substitute players in. Not saying the Direwolves players are bad. I just think strategically we're seeing them play to win their lane, and we're seeing Mammoth pick Ezreal Alistar and just being smashed at level 1. And I didn't say anything at level 1, but definitely something in the VOD review that I'm sure Shinky will look at, but definitely copped it with a bit of mispositioning.
Always one of those talking points with the Alistar, right? When they press themselves a little bit too aggressively before they can even do a combo. But that's another talking point for another time as we continue to see how the rest of Direwolves are faring. Very early days, but they've managed to find some form of advantage. That's found in a 2,400, 2,500 gold lead, so good days for them. That's a major item in their favor right now, and you have to feel good, especially as Kalrock, knowing that you're going into an Ezreal that wants to get that early spike, wants to have a team that want to brawl so that he can play to that same idea. But they nullified a fair bit of that.
I would really like to see Goodo play around Wei right now. Shock without ultimate, definitely someone you could look at. Even though he has flash, you have Volibear ult. He actually doesn't have Volibear ult, but he has Herald to summon, more importantly. Ash arrow.
There's the Ash Arrow again, followed up by the Q. They're going to flash away, and a heal had to be burnt by Frost too. Doesn't get any easier here in this bottom half of the map. Only was there as well. He had the ultimate ready to go. Goto still swinging his head into topside, and this time Claire knows.
The ever-vigilant Claire, of course. You've got Only, who shows himself in bottom lane, so knows that he's on the weak side of the map. This push in top lane will most likely result in the entire turret, however, so the Herald is definitely a pretty key component towards this for Mammoth and something that helps them get a lot of gold back in their pockets. It's not just an accelerating gold difference, even though bottom is just objectively winning here for the Wolves. It is still some money for Mammoth. 330, the extra first turret gold going the way of Nectar, as well as it being pre-14 minutes of the plate secured. And any kind of difference that was up there in that top 1v1 is gone now, right? It's not just a 2-1 Silas anymore. He's 30 CS down. He's lost an entire turret to 0 plates in comparison. Still a win for Nectar, unless...
She's going to look for the fight. They're going to commit the ultimate across the wall and bait out a TP, and he's just saying, get away from me, stop touching me. The turret will do my duty again. That's the second kill onto you, add insult to injury, and we might just turn it around for another kill. Here's the TP, here's the cavalry, and here's the synergy, because it's just so clean from Direwolves.
Nectar died to the turret. It's sickening, Skimmy. I'm starting to run out of nice things to say if everyone's just going to die to turrets. 4,000 gold difference. I mean, they continue to push top lane. Claire knows when to play, and all credit to Direwolves for their timings. Shock's been roaming well. Only was there at the right place at the right time, and Mammoth just don't know the exact timings on when to back away, and that is something that is really coming to hurt them. As we will get to see a replay of this once again. Herald, 600 health. They want to get the charge in. Claire's standing here to stop it, and that's why they see this opportunity. But Claire's already won the trade. The trade's over. The teleport's not going to be on time, and Nectar just decides that he doesn't feel like living through the rest of this anymore, and a nice teleport from the flank there of Shock will secure the rest of this. Easy pickings for Direwolves.
Still fairly forced. The team as disciplined as Direwolves knew how to punish it, and better positioning, better understanding. And that now means they're into double digits. 10 kills to 3 now at the 12-minute mark. The lane assignments have swapped, you mentioned it. Once that bot turret fell on down, they will just plant themselves in mid lane and just delete those waves to do things like this.
Yeah, and second dragon of the game, 12 minutes, does set Direwolves up for pretty early. Drake's soul as well. We're very happy with that one. And now they'll be able to continue to push into the blue side quadrant of Mammoth's map. Now, at this stage, it does feel like we've been doing a lot of handshake jungling, a lot of vertical jungling. This blue buff did not reset it. And Shock getting this blue as well, getting closer to level 11. We're getting closer to the item spikes, Skimmy, which for Direwolves, because they are about 4,000 gold ahead, will come sooner and will result in a much faster pace League of Legends from the blue side of the rift pretty soon, you would expect.
Would do. They're going to be very happy with themselves, but I don't think it's going to deter too much of the aggression that Mammoth have. Despite them perhaps being down in those items, they're going to still be looking for moments like this, as that's going to be Wei looking for the kick. He hasn't used it just yet. He doesn't have the flash. There's the wards, and there's the hop away. They're really looking to try and abuse him in this top half of the map, but he's holding his own beautifully.
Yeah, he is still a WMAX Silas, so if the Lee Sin follows that next Q, he's going to heal his way back up to full Direwolves. We look at the rest of the map to see what they're getting done. They've pushed mid, they're threatening the dive onto Frost. Shinky has once again lost half of his health, and they have a Nectar.
They do have a Nectar. He's going to try and hit that blast cone, but denied before. Going to fall on down again. I'm not sure he's going to be wanting to forget about very shortly, as the turret plates are about to go down. Good on the flank, really just trying to take down Claire. They've had enough of him. He's going to look for the 1v2 right now. He doesn't have the ultimate, but he's going to look to try and life leech as much as he can. This time the turret won't be his best friend. This time, Goodo will shut him down.
I mean, I've lost count of how many attempts it has been, but this time it is definitely successful. They're able to utilize, again, the dive threat that a Volibear provides, knowing, of course, that Silas did not have an ult of his own, that Claire did not have the ability to steal anything away from the Lee Sin or the Volibear. Is pretty much the go signal. Much more successful this time around. Mid lane actually did fizzle out. There was a lot of damage put onto the side of Mammoth, but nothing more. And it felt like there was an opportunity for them to do something perhaps, but they used the Akali ultimate and the Hecarim ultimate for the pick onto Nectar instead of threatening the middle lane. And, you know, that's something that'll net them the kill, sure, but what's a 0-3 to a 0-4 Renekton when Mammoth actually get something good from it.
Do. But it's going to be much easier to try and hold off this second turret from falling on down. They've got the vision, they've got deep TP angles, but they just can't step up to try and contest this.
And, you know, with League of Legends being, particularly in competitive, because I don't often see it in solo queue, it's very hard to be a weak side player. Like that mentality, especially like, imagine you're Claire. And I think you've been doing a pretty good job of it so far, but you're a prolific mid laner in the Oceanic scene, right? For upwards of 5 years, you get the attention because you're the mid laner. The world revolves around the mid lane. And don't you ever tell a mid laner otherwise, Skibby, because they'll let you know. The world revolves around them, and now you've been planted into top lane. You know, you're isolated, you're stuck. You've got the enemy team just hounding you, just knocking at your door constantly. Your turret's gone. There's nothing there for you. It's just pain. There's going to be mistakes, for sure, that will happen. And Claire is not immune to those as well as he has been playing it. So, Mammoth do at least pick on that wound.
And it felt like easy pickings initially when he had made that switch. Especially trying to hold his own. Bear in mind, last time he played this only last week, actually. He got that quadra kill on the Silas and the Gravitas, so you really feel comfortable knowing that a lot of these champions will start to blur the lines between where they're viable, be it mid or top. This little dance in mid lane has finally come to an end because that turret has gone. And Shock was doing good work up top side as well. So first 3 targets in favor of Direwolves. It's going to be an Infernal Soul to play for, as if Assassin Dive Heavy Comp needed the extra damage burst, and that's up in a minute.
Yeah, the Infernals probably have to go the way of Mammoth if they want to have a real chance to win this game. If we do take a step back and look big picture for a second, it's 5,000-6,000 gold difference in favor of Direwolves, and it is also already the chain vest, already the plated steel caps, and a Seeker's arm guard for Claire on this Silas. And the main point here being that there is armor already being purchased early in this game. And for the side of Mammoth, while they do have 2 Divine Sunderers in the works and a decent amount of magic damage early, that peters off quick.
He does. Waze kicked him into his team, and unfortunately for Calrock, he's gone hunting where he's just not allowed to. Going to fall on down now. Way looking for a second kill, but only is going to be there to try and prevent it. A TP committed, an unfortunate time for him to fall on down, given that the Infernal was there to play for. But much to your point, Rusty, this is what Mammoth need.
Yeah, good teleport from Claire. Also one available from Shock, and he's going to teleport early here as well. They're saying no Calrock, no problem, it looks like. Direwolves really want this one.
Is getting low and it's gone. And it's still going to go for the 4v5. They're going for a bit of a pincer maneuver. They're going to try and isolate at least one key target. They turn their attention on towards Way. In goes Shock, but he gets pulverized immediately. The fear goes out. Stormbring onto 4 different members. Everybody getting low, but it's an AD-centric comp here from Mammoth. A cross-map ult from their base is... Karok says, I'm trying to help here. I'm trying to even out the odds. Only wants to get a kill, but with every ultimate burnt, everybody survives.
Yeah, really tense teamfight, actually. Mammoth just take the Drake too quick. I think Direwolves were really looking to try and catch them in the pit. Use the Akali, use the Hecarim ultimate, lock them down and put some good damage. The Ash Arrow would fly in afterwards as well and really secure anything that was, or any stragglers trying to run away. But at the end of the day, Drake was already gone. The follow-up was lacking because Direwolves really just tried to force that one. You know, they already committed 2 teleports to the play. They had to try. And unfortunately for them, it's not exactly what they're after. Now, they are still well and truly in the driver's seat in this game, but 2 teleports now gone. An opportunity presents itself for Mammoth with both of theirs available to try and play for a lane, to try and really blow open a win condition on the map.
See how they decide to find that, where they go to navigate it, because there is, as you say, a tank heavy comp, a brawler heavy comp that wants to find skirmishes, but there is a lot of AD as well, so Claire's itemized beautifully towards it. But if Direwolves do find themselves in a position of power, they are still in that, up by 6,000 gold. It's going to hurt a little bit that they can't get themselves a very early Infernal Soul, but they're going to be, no doubt, cautious of overstepping their reach and gifting Mammoth chances to claw their way back into this one. Because from a macro standpoint, they've been doing a fantastic job of keeping these waves in check.
Yeah, definitely looking at waves. Direwolves have had a handle on it for the most part. Mammoth has just been left a little bit more respondent. They do have a 0-4 Renekton who's just trying to catch waves, so not really being proactive, being much more like get what you're given. is the way that Nectar has to play with this disadvantage he currently has. And one thing as well, we've mentioned this, and I just want to reiterate this, you know, as Claire is level 12, it's not just an armor stacking Sylas, it's an armor stacking Sylas with Shinky's ultimate in team fights. So he is, to say the least, oppressive, but right now he's the one being targeted.
Certainly is. He's stood on the Lee Sin kick to try and make it a 1v2, buy some time. Juggle through those cooldowns as much as he can. Cops a true shot barrage from across the map and will fall on down as Wei finds his fall for the game. And the Direwolves are getting hunted.
Yeah, and here is one thing that a Renekton can do, Skibby, regardless of scoreline. It is press W and set up the rest of your team to get kills. And that is something they do very successfully right there. Wei can also make these plays because he has the teleport, and so does Nectar, right? So TP advantage means side lane threat, and they're able to force a kill down in bottom lane, and credit to them. You know, again, it was a good decision. Now Nectar perhaps overstayed.
Just have done there. The ultimate goes out, and Nectar, he gets away. He won't be 0-5. What's going to happen today? So Wei TP's in just to provide a little bit of backup if that fight were to continue. Had fizzled out by that point in time, but he's being a lot more proactive. The one really looking to try and lead the initiative as to where they go and what they do.
Yeah, not looking for a 0-10 power spike just yet, Skimmy, it seems. He wants to delay that one just a little bit longer. The Stride Breaker, actually, from Nectar is what saves his life there. The Hecarim ult does not fear him towards himself, fears him away. So he's able to actually create space and get some distance between him and his opponent, and only, I don't know if the Ghost was available, but sees the teleport and says, absolutely not. There's no way we're committing to this one. Right now, the game plan is definitely around the Drake that is going to be up in 1 minute. Direwolves already establishing a zone of control as they do. And Goodo is on the other side of the map looking at Baron. And if they're going to hit that Baron, they need an Ezreal to do a lot of damage to it. So it's very unlikely is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it would be interesting turn of events to say the least right now, because I'm sure Direwolves will be like, well, you can have the Baron, we'll go for the Dragon. We'll just continue to hit these side lanes and open up our win condition with an open inhibitor instead. They're going to contest, though. They're going to try and bully them out from their own blue buff area. Only that's on hot pursuit so far. Going to jump on towards Wei. Going to look to continue it. For the meantime, the arrow goes sideways. It does not connect. Wei forced to disengage, and well, they really didn't want that fight because Frost had no mana.
Yeah, Frost no mana at a very tragically timed moment in the game as well. We'll be able to get back onto the map with some home guards at least. But this does mean that, again, all the control that Direwolves have in River on the bottom side of the map should be secured now. And we'll translate towards the Dragon take. Mammoth, to try and contest this one, will have to walk into the jaws of the beast as they put all of their priority and their efforts towards the Baron. And even then, right, they get one ward near the blue buff of Direwolves, but it's contested. They get pushed away pretty much immediately. And maybe trying to catch Direwolves in translation from Dragon to Baron could be the name of the game, but not a lot else. Really just accepting reality here. If you're Mammoth,
It does seem to be that way, doesn't it? It's really narrowing down the possibilities as to where you may find the Direwolves. Either they're going to look to try and do a Baron dance and bait their attention that way, or just continue to do the successful strategy, which is pick them apart in the side waves. 4 turrets to 1. Nectar's still waiting to try and hit that 2-item spike and hope that he can offer at least some form of influence in these team fights, whether that be a denial of a big shield onto a key carry or ability to be annoying on the back end of a team fight. But as it stands so far, it's been mainly Wei looking to try and jump on through, hit the kick, and serve up a crucial pick on the platter. These side waves don't seem to be getting much easier.
no, not at all. Particularly Shock side of the map being heavily protected. Even though there's nothing there for Direwolves to take, they are making sure that their Akali is the strong side of Summoner's Rift. And that's what matters to Shock. Because like we said, the world revolves around mid laners. Still really Baron is going to be the point of contention here though. For the moment, I think Direwolves ultimately don't need to even look at the Baron unless Mammoth do. Right? You could probably just play around the fact that you've got an Infernal Soul ready in 3 minutes. just don't die for the next 3 minutes if possible.
There we go. That was a little bit adventurous there from Wei, but nonetheless, he's going to get punished for it. He's going to flash away because the Enchanted Crystal Arrow already hit him on the head. A massive ultimate there by only locking him in place right now. A delayed TP from the left-hand side by Nectar looking to try and join into this fight. He's popped the ultimate. Dominus is ravaging through them as he has to slice and dice the way to safety. Once again, a fight. We're waiting for the opening kill, and finally, it's going to be Renekton that falls on down. He flashed away, but the fight is already done. By that point, 2 kills found here. Only once more going to get knocked away with the headbutt, but it just doesn't matter. He still connects with the kill. And with Claire stealing away to Stormbringer, the dive continues. And now we're looking for the first ace of this game.
Yeah, it took a while for Direwolves to find their moment, but 24 minutes in, they do get given the opportunity to take a team fight. You've got the Karma, the Hecarim working together here as well. So good engage from them, really. The inhibitor is going to stay alive, actually, and they're going to choose to disengage. Death time is maybe just a little bit too low, or Kudo, being able to get that reset. And just not wanting to risk anything if you're Direwolves, and that's the key point. No risks, no needed or forced errors coming out of them overstaying. No unforced errors mechanically either. Just go back to base. Feel happy about the win, get the extra gold in your pockets, and continue to accelerate this game to your favor. Because again, in 2 minutes, you've got the soul point waiting for you. And that was a free team fight victory for them in the end that Mammoth tried to take.
It was. And feels very much reliant now on hitting your spells and guaranteeing the fight works that way, because it certainly seemed to be that Lee Sin was looking for it. As soon as the Sonic Wave did not connect, they were like, hang on a minute, we can get collapsed upon, we can get turned on more so than anything. And the end product was a fight where they had to sacrifice a few fallen members and bite their tongue back at the fountain. As for Direwolves though, as you said, they're going to be quite content with that one. They're going to be even more so just running back to their waves and continue to put pressure and say that you're not allowed to step up in any part of this map. The vision is denied. These wards belong to us.
You're only just playing with them now.
Yeah, they're playing in the dark.
Nectar in Zimbabwe needs to be very careful.
Okay, well, he's looking to try and turn things around now. Hit the Dominus, but he's waiting for the rest of his team to decide how they maneuver this one. And then the Tri-Brush, but nobody willing to commit a flash because they don't actually have it, Rusty. Nobody on the side of Mammoth has a flash to try and force their hand, so the ultimate finds 0 value.
Wei's doing what he can, right? It's 3v5. Ash only just gets in now. Ooh.
Connects. Claire finds the Everfrost to guarantee the CC layering. In comes the TP from Shock on the backhand side. A Pulverize to lock him in place. They retreat to their top tier 2. Direwolves are still very keen for it, but Mammoth are saying we want it, we just can't find a way in.
Yeah, Renekton, Volibear, I mean, Stridebreaker, Volibear ultimate, tools that can help get you into the fight without flashes, sure, but pretty difficult to do when the enemy team has that Karma that will just step up to you and move quickly to disengage. Wei,
it's the fight you want. He tries to go for a cheeky little skirmish, knowing full well that the Direwolves are there hunting in their jungle. A kill just happens off screen. Goodo's dead. And Nolly said enough. The Onslaught of Shadows connects, locks them in place. A battle on 2 different fronts right now as Shock takes the battle up against Shinky. That's the ultimate on him, but still zaps through his HP bar. It just does not exist. A double for the Hecarim. He's now 4-1 and 6. And Claire looking for the fight across the wall. Jumps into the base with the chains. Swirls them all together. And we might, at the 28-minute mark, have our first ace of the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is an ace with minions already there in mid lane, ready to go. They've got a cannon. They have the potential, though it is only 8 seconds till Goodo respawns and 10 on Shinky, to consider ending here if they would like to. I would not be surprised. They are going to commit to this one. We'll see how they go.
That's what you do. Goodo up, as you mentioned, and 15 seconds at least before the rest of this team can come back into the fight. They need Frost. He's the biggest damage component. You can see on that score sheet below you, but as one comes up, another falls on down. The Nexus is exposed, and Direwolves looking to just put a bow on it, wrap this one up, and get their sights set on week number 3.
They have to ruin Claire's KDA first. All of Direwolves stop hitting the Nexus while he's sitting in the fountain in stasis from his Zonias, and they legitimately griefed him. That's so good.
Team cracking up there. He doesn't look too happy about that one, though. A cheeky smile at the end there, but he would be saying, come on, boys. You've trolled my KDA. Nonetheless, though, a stellar performance by them. Karuk, no doubt, going to be happy that he's had his fun in the sun. 2 weeks of gameplay for him to play against some of the very best in the region. And it'll be interesting, no doubt, to track his performance as this Split 2 continues.
And what to say about that game, Skimmy, because it was already so weird like 2 minutes in. You know, the
Yeah.
fights bottom at level 1 were wild. Top lane, we pan up there just as a kill happens. Mid, we've got a dive successfully happening. The solo bolo from Wei. I mean, there was a lot of individual action. It's just that the second it became a team-based game, Direwolves had a lead, and it was really easy for them to continue to snowball that lead out. You know, good teleports, good decisions, easy dragon control. At the end of the day, that was just a difference of class, it feels like, between the young Mammoth and the experience of Direwolves.
It certainly was, and I'm sure one member watching with glee was Mac, as we bring you back into the fold of things. Mate, what do you think about a game like that?
Less glee that I got the prediction wrong, but look, that's expected. You know, we gave them the 15% chance to get the W there, but Direwolves really just put their foot down on the throat just when it was necessary, not letting the game go on for too long and not letting Mammoth have too many more chances. However, you know, it's all about those rotations, and we did see Mammoth try to make some. Unfortunately, didn't really go their way throughout the game. You can see moments like that where maybe there were plays that could have happened, but teleport potentially coming in just a little bit too late was unable to turn things around. It was just, it was, you know, business as usual, it looked like, for Direwolves. They played to an extent that got them the win. There was nothing really that was too fancy, all things considered. And then, you know, there was moments as well towards the end where, yes, Nectar popped his ulti and no one had flashes, so there was no ability to really go for the hard engage, and then there was no team fight off the back of it. Direwolves knew there was no ulti there for Nectar, and then they just pushed into the base and finished things off pretty easily. So, Direwolves just going to be taking this match in their stride and showing what they are capable of even without their full-strength 5-man roster.
It just felt like to me that they were comfortable knowing that Mammoth had drafted this comp that wanted to fight, that wanted to be basically having their flash on cooldown 24/7, and said, all right, well, we'll just sit to the side lanes, and they did just that, right? You know, if they had a fight, cool, we'll win that. If we are getting ganked 1v3, then Claire will navigate that, but every time there was a dragon, instantly that would be picked up, and then straight back to the side lanes and just wait out the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was a battle of inches, really. You know, you could see it was all smiles in the camp there at Direwolves, so they were just happy, having a good time, and that's exactly what you want to be doing to get you across the line. Look at that 22k damage coming out there from Silas. That was a big amount of damage there as well. Anything in particular in the stats that stands out to you, Rusty?
Trying not to look at the 1.6k of Shinky. No, nothing crazy. I do think that it's worth commending the performance of the bottom lane of Direwolves overall as well. I think they played their role pretty well in this one, which was to get through laning phase with an advantage and translate that to only. And they dove bottom. It was successful, you know, overall. They played out the game as they should. And that's the thing, right? I think it was just clinical. And to speak frankly, it felt like a Challenger versus Diamond matchup. That's just how the game felt with the way it was played.
So just two different levels of skill, it seemed like, were in the server, in the Rift there, rather. However, speaking of someone with a whole different skill, and that's Nat, it's talking to people. She's very good at that. Let's bring her into the conversation. And who do you have to show us your skills of talking to people?
I'm going to be using my talking skills to have a chat to Guncrab about that game. Congratulations again on the win. I want to know, we saw Ash get picked up by Order in the last game. Didn't really work out for them. So why did you guys go for Ash, and why did she work so much better for you guys?
Well, we felt like it was a pretty decent matchup into the Ezreal bottom lane, and it also provided a lot of like utility against the enemy's team comp, because they had kind of picked like Ezreal, which is weak in lane versus Ashe, but also 3 melee champions that can easily get kited by Ashe's slow. And we kind of knew from like how the draft was going that they were on a timer to make things happen, and we just had to hold on and make it out of laning phase. And Ashe would eventually, she doesn't necessarily outscale Ezreal, but she should be able to put enough of a lead in the bottom lane that they need extra members to help bot on their team to recover 2v2.
Yeah, you guys had an amazing lead in bot. I saw a few, solo kills, a lot of like tower dives for you guys. Who was doing the shot calling between you and Calrock to make those happen?
it's mainly a combination of me and only Jordy, where Karok's more passing information about what he wants to do, and I'm giving like options for only to make, whether like he wants to like, for example, this game I was saying that if we avoided like Volibear's level 3 gank this game with Hawkshot, then we can look for a dive after his first scuttle grab, and yeah.
So I
it's mainly
guess
me and
you're
Jordan.
out there. Yeah, I was gonna say you're out there and you're really helping Calrock get those awesome kills. Last question I do want to ask is, with the game plan, you said you wanted the Ashe to scale up. Was that it? Like, did you guys want to take this one slow, or would you have preferred to have played it more aggressively?
I think we definitely had windows in this game that we missed, like mainly around post 6, which is when our champions like really come online, like Silas, Akali, Hecarim, etc. But we were fine also scaling and taking the game slow and like playing to a dragon win con. So yeah, I mean they pretty much drafted themselves in a hole where they had to get an early lead, or else they weren't gonna have a chance at winning 5v5 because they had a full AD short range comp.
Well, I love the versatility coming out of Direwolves, and it's great to see you guys win a game today. Thank you so much for joining me for the interview.
Thank you.
There you have it. So good to hear straight from the horse's mouth as well. Gunkrab having a decent game in support today, and it may be just the last time that we actually get to see him play support, because by everything we've heard, Cupcake should be back next week, and that means we will have Gunkrab back in his role of ADC. So that brings us to our favorite segment, the DoorDash player that delivered. I think everyone already knows who it is. Let's just ask Nat, because I don't know if you looked at Discord.
I haven't. I've been keeping my eyes on Gunkrab, paying attention to everything he has to say. So my guess is going, and I'm dragging this out for as long as possible.
I can hear the slow-mo.
Yup, it's definitely on Direwolves, and it's not in the bottom lane. It's gonna go to Claire. I have no idea.
Ooh, almost. Okay. It's the person that's next to the top lane, and it was jungle, and it was Only. So congratulations to Only, who is the DoorDash player that delivered for Game 2 of the day. He's going to be taking himself home a $100 DoorDash voucher. And have a look at that, 65% kill participation, 4-1 and 9. Just assisting up a storm there, doing God's work for the Direwolves. Rusty, you're a man that loves stats. Tell me anything in particular that you do or don't like. I'm seeing 8 wards placed. Is that enough?
I mean, it's enough given how that game went. At the end of the day, nothing crazy should show up here from stats. What I will say is only just remember who gets a say in picking DoorDash player that delivered, mate. I'm feeling a little bit peckish right now. You know where to find me, Only, right? Thank you.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, that's it. So congratulations to Only for being the DoorDash player that delivered. If you like a cat jam, a Mac jam, or a rat jam, remember to exclamation playlist in chat, and you can listen to all the sick music from Warner. Everyone was loving or confused. I think they were loving the explicit song that we do have on today. So, if you don't want to hear it, cover your ears. But I love it. I love it. Get it in me. And I think we're going there as well. It's time for a break. Let's go to game number 3. It's going to be Legacy taking on Pentanet just after this. Do not go too far, because this spicy matchup's coming up after this sick song.
For a cheeky little skirmish, knowing full well that the Direwolves are there hunting in their jungle. That kill just happens off screen. Goodo's dead. And Nolly said enough. The Onslaught of Shadows connects, locks them in place. A battle on 2 different fronts right now, as Shock takes the battle up against Shinky. That's the ultimate on him, but still zaps through his HP bar. It just does not exist. A double for Hecarim. He's now 4